good afternoon, all you lovely people that are hiding from the snow and the rain and whatever it is, unless you're down south and it's a balmy 11 degrees down here, but it's just started raining or drizzling. So welcome everybody. Hope you can hear me. Hope you don't lose me during this live. I have had issues this morning with a signal down here, but it seems to be holding up now. So I will introduce you to my ear maggot, the one and only. Let me just change cameras and bring the boy in, young Brian from Hartwood. So he's going to be keeping me informed of what you're asking or saying. I'm not worried whether it's rude or not. I've got used to that now. I've got too old in the tooth to worry about being called names. I can just ignore you. So welcome everybody. Part 2. No, it's part 3.
Yeah, part 3.
Part 3 of the Oyster Bowl that I started. And the reason it's part 3, last week when I started I realised that there were quite a few voids that needed some filler in. So rather than completely finish it, I filled the voids. And let's put it up on screen so you can see what we're talking about.
You want to stick me back in the background there, Keith?
Mine's going in the background. Let me find the camera to put that on. I think that's the best one. So we've got thus far. So you can see all the oysters are set in. They're set in with bark.
Keith?
Bark.
Keith?
Yes?
I think you need to put me in the background. You need to hide me. You haven't put me away yet. I'm still live on YouTube.
You aren't now.
You mean I won't be in a minute?
Oh,
there we go. That's it now. That's
yeah.
us now. We're good now.
Yeah, technology and me don't always work hand in hand. So as I was saying, you can see all the oysters that we set in. These are set in with crushed yew bark dust. And the way I was told to do it, and it works, if anyone's got an old coffee bean grinder, put a few bit of bark in there, turn it on, and gradually build up a pot. It's quite a funny dust because it picks up, it's picked up the light dust. You can't really see it on the yes you can just about down here. It's picked up the light dust where I've given this a light sand because I just wanted to double check that we were good. And I didn't want to have to go back in again and make it part 4. So we are completely filled all the way around. So today's mission is to take off the faceplate ring in the center, which I can do now. And we're good to go and we can finish it off. So while I'm having a quick unscrew, Brian will do his job and let me know who's in the chat.
I will indeed. I'll just read it off the participants list, which is an alphabetical order. So we have Andy H is for turning.
Hi, Andy.
We have some guy called Circular Wood by Keith. I'm not sure who that is.
You want to watch him? Dodgy bloke.
Oh, definitely worth the watching. Clive Robertson. Good afternoon, Clive. Colin Izzard. David J. Heath. Doug Miller from Wood Spun Round. Gav from Cede Woodwork. Friend Gerard, the French turner. Hodgepodge from Hodgepodge Works. Jennifer from Craft and Creations. Lawrence Bouquet. Maple Tree Studios.
Hi,
Mike Hugh. Dale from Maple Tree Studios. Yep. Good afternoon, Dale. Mike Hugh, the hobby wood turner from Ilminster. Neil M. Peter Kelly, Robert
Pete.
Dolman, Steve Scott, and Tommy's Workshop. And that's all that's on my participants panel currently. So
Right,
I'll
you've got
switch
Barry,
back now
Barry
to.
Finch has just popped in. He's another club member.
I'll
So
just
we've got
pop back to live chat.
3 or 4 club members in. So welcome, guys. At least someone's coming over to support me. Out of 100 and nearly 20 members, there's only 5 of us. Apologies to from Scott. He was supposed to be earworming with Brian, but he had a dodgy chicken tikka last night, and it's he spent all morning on the loo, so he didn't want to risk it. Well, I'm not sure whether it was on the loo, but he's not brilliant. He's not brilliant. Right, I'm going to fire up the dust extractor, and with my normal 10mm 1/4 inch bowl gouge.
Morning, Terry. Terry from
Schooner up the
TJ.
middle.
So Terry
welcome
from
to you
TJ.
all. Hi, Terry. So hopefully we can all see this. Just
Chris Dodds is in from Australia.
hi, Chris.
Welcome, Chris.
Just turn this round a fraction. It's a soft wood. The body of this is large. It's fairly soft, but being that it's a fairly coarse grain, it does make quite a noise cutting.
Mark, the gentleman wood turners in. Good morning,
Hello,
Mark.
Mark.
Or good afternoon, even.
Did you enjoy your walk along the beach? I see you went out earlier on.
A question from Clive. Let me see, Clive Rogerson. Question: has your club managed to pick up any new members since last March?
To be honest, Clive, it hasn't bothered to try. It has done nothing. It's almost embarrassing to say you're part of a club, and with 120-ish members, I know probably 75% are in the either retired or just retiring or get into that stage of their life. A lot of them aren't tech savvy, but there's enough help out there to get them going. I started this from scratch with the help of Dale to give me a bit of a few insights as to what I needed, how I needed to go about it. Scott gave me a little bit of a leg up as well on insights, but it's not that difficult. It's the terminology and the words that are used is the biggest issue I had. But,
so we have Barry from Root Creations in.
Oh yeah, Barry.
And we have a question from Maple Tree Studios. And he says,
Hi, Dale.
He says, "Oi, you old wood botherer, what kind of lathe is that?"
This is a Polewood Euro 1500, Dale. It's a 1.5 horse inverter driven. I have the facilities that I can actually turn with it running in reverse, which I sometimes do. If I can't get the chisel over far enough, something in the way, I can actually turn it round and come in from the back. So I can turn that way. Sometimes the easier way to see round the bottom of a bowl or a hollow form. 9 times out of 10 you're leaning over your chisel, whereas the chisel's coming towards you. So it has its advantages, and it's also good for sanding. Quite often I'll sand one grit one way, second grit the other way, and alternate them. Particularly if we've got an awkward grained bit of wood, cross grain, wild grain. So it's got its advantages. A lot of people don't realise that they can turn the opposite way around. Oh, it's always turn from the right, from the left. Yeah, I generally do, but it's not ultra critical. I'm just going to swap to a bigger gouge across the bottom there. This one sharp. We'll find out.
So Clive has kind of replied to your reply. He says, not good. I started running last July and managed to join a local club, in brackets BWA, who are trying their best to keep things going via Zoom and Facebook. And they've picked up 3 or 4 new members during COVID.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to 1 or 2 of them re-Zoom meetings. Oh, it's a bit technical. I'm not going to bother with that. So they're spiking themselves.
Yeah,
They've
well,
got the technology, but they're frightened to ask and try it out. Right, let's see what that looks like. It's a far better cut with a bigger chisel.
I heard a reply from Mark, the gentleman wood turner as well. He's still down on the beach, and he says,
"Oh, right.
Can't walk and text at the same time."
Oh, so he's sitting down then.
Today.
Hope you guys can see okay.
Yep, that's good picture.
I've got an LED light at the back.
I was going to say, it's getting a bit whited out by that light, but
yeah, it's the only way I can see. But it's a little LED magnetic, so I've got it stuck down as low as I can.
Yep.
To try and keep it out of the way, but I need to be able to see.
That's okay. You can still see the chisel.
Yeah.
You're okay. Steve Ellis has just joined. Howdy, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
And Christine and Michael Heseltine are in.
Hello, Christine and Michael. There's another club members. Oh, Michael is anyway.
Hodgepodge asked your question. Where did you get the magnetic light?
Mark Sanger has got a guy down in Dorset Way. Drop me an email or a message afterwards, and I can give you the details. Can't remember what it's called now, but it's actually quite good because it'll stick anywhere as long as it's metal, and it just brightens up what you're doing. And to be able to see down the bottom there, it's useful. It's also useful if you've got a fairly deep hollow form that you want to see into. I don't think it's bright enough to shine through the sides. That feels pretty good to me.
How is that little light powered, Keith?
It's off a tranny. There's a little plug-in tranny. It's on a.
Okay.
You can get a Y piece for it, so you can run 2 off the same tranny.
So you get some there, I think, that are actually you can plug into USB as well.
Yeah, but that's too far away from me. So that served its purpose. Let's tuck that over there and turn it off. Get Drilly's cousin out.
Hodge says, no problem at all. I was hoping it was something simple like Amazon, since I'm in the States. I know
Right.
Cindy Drozda sells them, but they're a
Okay.
bit pricey.
Yeah, it's not cheap, but I think it's paid for itself. So,
Yeah.
and I got it when he was.
You'll actually soon find one, Hodgepodge, if you just Google
Yeah,
LED lights.
Try
And if
Wood
you-
Art Projects
Yeah.
or Products. I think that's what it's called.
And if you can't find a magnetic one, you could easily just buy some rare earth magnets and hot glue onto the back of it. Because I've done that with a lot of little magnets currently.
Yeah. Right.
Question from Steve Scott. Steve,
Right.
what glue do you use with the ground yew bark?
I stuck the oysters in with Pixel, which comes out of a tube. Other makes are available, but that did give me the flexibility of realigning them or lining them up where I wanted them. Excuse me. And the bark I dropped in dry and then drizzled super glue into it. And it's surprising that these oysters have taken almost a 50-gram bottle of super glue. All that's left is just enough to wet the bottom of that 50-gram bottle. So hopefully they're stuck
That's a
in.
lot of super glue. Yeah, it's a lot of super glue.
It's a lot of super glue, but this larch is quite porous, so it won't be finished with a wax or anything like that. I'm going to lemon oil it when I finished it. But, yeah, quite happy with the way that's coming up. There's just a little bit of tool mark round on the rim there, which I should be able to get out.
There's a question from Gerard, the French turner. Could you use milliput instead of bark and CA?
Milliput was going to be what I was going to fill it with, but then I thought, well, I've got these yew oysters and there was a reasonable amount of bark still on them. So I thought, well, silly, let's do it with the bark that I'd already got ground up. So I did. So, not going to say it's the easiest, but why should we always want everything that's easy? Milliput, I could probably have done it in a 2-turn session because you can push it in. You possibly would need to go over it again because I did a previous one. It had little voids just underneath which are air bubbles, so you can push it in. Yeah, it was going to be milliput.
So that's your answer, Gerard. Yes, you can do it with milliput. You could use anything really to fill it, I suppose.
Yeah, I quite like the bark because if you've got a wide crack or determination between two branches in a piece, you can use it to your advantage and build up a more natural looking finish than by adding something like a plastic milliput or whatever it is. Just a little bit of tearing. We're getting there.
I just noticed a comment there from, it's a way back in the chat a little bit, from Christina Michael Hazeltine. She says, they say, Hello, Keith and others. Michael is here, minus the 6mm gallstone he had removed last week. Ugh.
I bet that made his eyes water if he was
I
awake.
bet you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
He says he thought you were going to use milliput. Yeah, well, we just explained that anyway.
Yeah. I did think I was as well. Where's the 240 pad gone? It's there. That's a new bit of paper on it. Got some cut. I'm nearly 100% prepared for this, you know.
Nearly 100%, yeah.
Nearly 100%. Don't seem to want to be able to spoil
Yeah,
it.
sure, 95% will be fine.
Yeah, right. We're now down to 240.
Hodgepodge's chat has frozen. I found yesterday that my chat was freezing, Hodge, and all I did was toggle between top chat and live chat, and that seemed to help. Seemed to get it going again.
Quite pleased with that. So, as I'm going to oil it, I'm just going to 400 because I've got some.
YouTube having a real difficulty with the chat over the last sort of week or so.
Was Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's a couple I didn't bother to listen to or try and get involved in. I just had the picture on a virtually crafty weekend. That was really good. Well done, Jamie and Carl, for organising that. And for any of you that have missed it, everyone is still live on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it.
I'm just looking back in the chat here, and I can't remember if I said hello to Steve Ellis. But if I did, I think I did. Well, if I didn't, howdy, Steve. Type something in the chat because it looks like it's frozen from here too. John S is just in.
Part-timers.
Oh. He's only 22 minutes late. It's not so bad. We'll not put him in the corner for that.
No. Right, I'm quite pleased with that.
Richard from RJK Spinning Wood is in. Hi everyone. Low Valley Makers in.
Coming over and watching what I'm doing. What's the weather like where you are? Down south, when I come in here, it was not too bad. There was a slight dampness in the air at near 10 degrees. I'm using lemon oil. Which camera am I on? That one. From Chestnut. So, to make life easier, I'm going to turn off that to start with. You can't hear it, but I can. Your
microphone's very crackly. It must be rubbing on your jacket.
Right, try that.
That's much better.
Yeah.
Steve Ellis says he's got 4 inches of snow there, but it's melting. Well, I've had the equivalent of 4 inches of snow and rain, and it's still raining.
Yeah. We've got rain or drizzle.
Yeah, well,
right.
My sand paddock this morning was flooded. Which is not good news. And Mike Yu from Millminster says it's positively tropical. It's 11 degrees C where he is.
Yeah, it is down here with me. Yeah. Right. Enough lemon oil on it to bring out the colour and to make it worthwhile putting on. It's just like a sponge. So as soon as I'm almost bathing it on it's soaking straight in, but it does bring up that burn,
Doesn't have.
that scorching that I did the first week.
It's looking beautiful.
Brings that back to life. And you pay.
Di Prout has said there's 6 inches here.
Yeah.
Seems to be a lot of snow about.
Yeah, particularly up north, but I'm not Sheffield, so that's a bonus.
And there's one of my Irish colleagues, Gerard, has said it's pissing rain in Cork since the last 2 days.
Okay. So you need a cork in it, then, do you?
Well, what we need is a big umbrella over Ireland to keep some of this rain off, because it's horrendous.
Well, that's soaked in, particularly here. The only bit it hasn't is a little bit over this side. So that's the outside first coat of oil. It'll probably get...
So Doug Muller's chipped into the weather conversation and said it's 19 degrees Fahrenheit here, which I don't know what that is, 19 degrees Fahrenheit. That's really cold. Because currently outside here is 41 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 4 Celsius.
Right. So I hope you got your thermals on, because it sounds like you might need them.
I think he might.
Right. So now I'm covered in lemon oil.
Barry Fitch has just chipped in and said it's warm and dry this side of the hill, Keith.
Yep. Quite often the case. The South Downs make a hell of a lot of difference to us down here. I'm north of the South Downs and south of the North Downs, and Barry's just south of the South Downs. So they can have heavy rain down there, and I can have bright sunshine up here, and vice versa. So I've got a little bit too much in there, but there's not much chance of me getting that back in the tub. But if I leave that in the bottom and keep moving it around with the brush, that will all gradually disappear.
I hate to say we can't see what you're doing.
No, I see that. I just looked up at the camera. So I had to put it on the lathe bed so that I could actually work it.
Yep, no,
you can see it all slopping around in the bottom.
Yep.
That will gradually soak in over the period of next half hour, hopefully.
And that was lemon oil you put in there, was it?
It was lemon oil.
Yep.
It was too porous, the wood, to take anything other than lemon oil or an oil.
So Mo Valley Maker just educated us there. She said it's -7 where Doug is.
Yeah.
And that's -7 Celsius. So that is what I would call Baltic.
Right. Let's take my glasses off.
So Die's something to go. I think Die's something to go. He's going to have to do what he said. He says I have plenty to keep me going, but I've got a prescription I need to pick up. I think I'm going to have to do a Captain Scott.
I
may be gone some time.
Thermal pants on and big boy trousers. You'll be okay. Right, so we're going to change the jaws. That was done on C jaws. Just dump them. Sort that out again later. And we're going to change that over to F jaws. 4, 3, 1, 2. Right, just got to find where it picks up. And these are Axminster chucks, so all the jaws, whatever carriers they're on, are all totally interchangeable.
So we have you have a question here from Clive Rogerson again. How long has it taken you to amass that wood stash?
On and off 30 years. That's not much.
All the way just in a lorry.
Yeah. Right, I think it was last Thursday, but I'm not sure. It might have been Tuesday when we were on. There was conversation on redwoods.
Microphone again.
Do we have any redwoods over here? Yes, we do. The biggest one that we have over here is the sequoia. It's not even that camera. So the biggest one we have is the sequoia, which is a redwood, and it looks like that. This is quite red in colour, natural, straight off the tree. It was planked up into 8-inch beams by 8-inch. So I've just ripped it down the middle. So I'm going to make a quick sequoia bowl. All I've done is put the F faceplate ring on, which is why we've changed the jaws. That does mean I can have a slightly smaller foot, which will be about 1/3 of the overall size, which is really what you aim for. It's not set in stone, but it looks proportionately right if it's a third of the overall diameter. So you've got 1/3 there, 1/3 there, and 1/3 there. So just going to make a standard similar shape bowl to that one. It's going to be slightly smaller at the bottom.
So we have a couple of late attendees. Pete from Twisted Trees is in.
Oh,
hi, he says.
Come on.
Sorry I'm late. Fuse box in the car was a bitch to find. And FKO, Four King Owls, he says, hello, I'm sorry I'm late. Yeah, go and stand in the corner.
I thought I saw Forkin earlier on. Was he not in the top of the chat?
No.
Okay.
So. No.
Right. So normal procedure. But instead of wasting time with a small gouge, there was also a question the other day. Do you need the small gouge to do the work with? The answer is no, not specifically. Providing your gouges are sharpened, I wouldn't go very deep on this with a spindle gouge, but having said that, I would still use a spindle gouge on there if I needed to. It's surprising how useful it gets, but most of my spindle gouges are 1/2 inch, so I've got a bit more meat in them. I don't like the thin ones, the 1/4 inch ones, just too flexible, inch over the end of the tool rest, and they tend to bounce and chatter. So you can use a spindle gouge. You can get in a decent way. I could do half of this with a spindle gouge. It's how much hangs over the end of the tool rest. 2 inches is a good rule of thumb is 4 times the width. So this is a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. So I would be quite happy to have 2 inches over there. If I'd got 2.5, I could manage it on light cuts. If I'd got 3 inches over there, you're going to get a bit of chatter. It's surprising. If you're over 4 inches, well, you are asking for trouble. Surprising the amount of leverage you can get on the end of your tool, and it keeps jumping up. So just to prove a point and show that you don't need small tools, I'm going the exact opposite. I'm going for 1 inch.
That's a brute.
Bowl gouge. I've reduced the handle. This is only about a 15-16 inch handle. Quite often you see me using this one, which is the full length of the tool. So I've taken it down nearly 1 foot, and I can do that because I've got both. So let's turn the extractor on.
Another new person arriving. Malcolm Douglas is in. Afternoon, Malcolm.
Hi, Malcolm.
And FKO's made a comment here. He said carbides? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Don't use carbides.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, you could if you wanted to, but they've got a purpose, they've got a use, and the use for me is acrylics or end grain. So we're about 500 revs. So tool rest down as low as it can go.
Yes, Pete, I'm afraid you have missed the oyster inlay bowl.
I'll show you again later.
It'll be making an appearance later.
So I'm using the whole of the wing. Let me just change cameras to see if that is better for you guys. I want above, which is 2. So I'm still steam driven down this end of the world, but we do get there.
Might need to lift the camera up a fraction.
Yeah, I just head butted it. Now, so I'm using the whole of the wing, which is close on 3/4 of an inch for cutting. Rubbing it so it's not cutting, twisting it in. Nice steady cut. I think that was the knot that's just flown out, or something just flown out, or broken off. Oh, there's a little chip off the side there. But to give myself a fighting chance, I've chosen a bit with a branch in.
With just a small knot in it, yeah.
Yeah. Why is it we don't learn?
So Pete was asking about the Oyster Bowl. He says he'll watch the beginning later. He really liked the idea of that one.
Thanks, Pete. It's a good way of using fairly bland wood. It would have. I'll tell you where it would have worked quite nicely on the bowl that Brian turned and painted the rim or stained the rim yellow.
Oh yeah, it's actually pear green, but no matter, I'll let you off.
Okay. It's yellow on my screen.
It kind of looks a bit yellow too. It does, I have to say. Di Prout says, question. What size bowl gauge is that?
It's an inch.
It's,
and I can still take very fine cuts if I wish. Just need to creep the volume up a bit. So there's barely a 1 mil coming off, 1/16 of an inch, and it's coping with that quite satisfactorily. And I can then change into a much bigger cut, and there I've got just shy of 1/2 inch cut.
What grind would you have on the end of that, Keith?
I'll show you in a second. I've got 2. We'll need to pull the tool rest out a fraction. Right, which one are we on? We're on this one.
Yep.
I've got the standard 45, and then I've relieved the heel. So I'm actually cutting, or actually running on half of the bevel, but I'm running on the bevel.
Okay, thanks.
I made a brilliant job of sharpening that, but it's still cutting. Now I can swing the tool rest around a fraction, get a bit closer.
Do you freehand sharpen, Keith?
I did on this because it won't fit in my jig.
Yeah.
Now that finish on there, apart from one or two little ridges, is actually quite good straight off the tool.
Podge thinks he needs to get one of those.
You don't need to. They have their uses.
Guy's just putting a comment there. He says, I'm thinking of putting my 3/4 inch back to a traditional or biased grind for bowl bottoms.
Irish grind. You don't need to.
No biased. He said biased grind, not Irish.
Don't know what you mean by bias grind.
No, I'm not 100% sure either, kid. So maybe Di will clarify that for us.
Yeah, if you could. But with the double grind on there, when I turn this round in a minute, you'll see how easy it is to still get across the bottom. So I've chosen a slightly deeper piece than what I would normally. I'm just going to grab the small one to go across the bottom, because I will need this just to cut the mortise.
So Malcolm Douglas asked what the wood is.
It's sequoia. Right, where's the dividers? It's those. Right, left-hand point only. There's my I'm going to make a reasonably deep mortise. When I say reasonably deep, it's only going to be 5 mil, because it's such a fast-growing wood, such a coarse wood, that I don't want to risk losing a bit. So we're going over to my hand profiled chisel, which is the same angle as, just throwing them down. It's a C-jaw, but it's the same angle of grind as the jaws, so I can just use that as for cleaning it up, and also putting in, making sure I've got the right angle on the inside. And that, I believe, is the outside. I just need to take a fraction more. You see it? Oh, just there's a dark piece, which is where the saw bench went through originally. So I just need to clean that bit off. So first tool that come to hand is actually a spindle gouge. That's better. Right, Drillie's brother.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go down to 80, so we're going straight in up to 120. Now, in this instance, I will be sanding at fairly high speed, only because the growth rings are so far apart. I don't want to keep dropping in and out of the rings like the sea. So with everything set up, swing that around a bit.
think my chat seems to have frozen up a little bit here too. So Di has clarified a little bit. He says swept back on the grind.
Right.
He says, like Emma Cook used a traditional grind on the right wing and depot back on the left for shear cuts and access. I'm not sure you've typed that right, Di, I'm not sure. Or swept back, oh I got it now, and swept back on the left for shear cuts and access, yeah.
Just a little bit on the bottom here, just a little mark there I can see. One more hit with 120. That one says 240, so that gives us a clue. Now, since this is
So
such a
Richard,
coarse wood, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to oil it again. It has lifted, or it has sanded out the softwood, which is inevitable. I'm just going to quickly go over the top with 400. I don't think it's going to improve it at all, but that's the only disadvantage of having soft grain, hard grain, soft grain, hard grain. It ends up a bit like a rough sea. It's not too bad, but I can definitely feel it.
so we've been going for about 40 minutes and we've got 40 in watching.
No, well done, guys. Thank you very much for bringing your lunch over and all sitting together, having lunch together.
I just poured myself a nice cup of tea into my Alder's wood turning mug.
Sand this back by hand. This is again 400. To see if it will take off some of those high spots. So I've still got the volume turned up. Don't think it will, but hey ho, we'll soon find out. I'm not worried if it doesn't. It's given me a mark around there, which I didn't see.
Richard Margie, spinning wood question. Would sanding sealer help with the softwood and hardwood discrepancy?
Not a great deal, I don't think, on this one. By not sanding too hard. This goes back to the good old days before anyone had sanding pads, when it all used to be sanded by hand. Just got rid of that. Where did I throw the 400? Can't be far, I just used it.
Here's a question from Benjamin. Do people's lathes have an accurate way of returning back to alignment with the tailstock?
Yes.
Mine doesn't, so I just align it with a cone in the tailstock.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's the most accurate way. Put a drive in the headstock or in the chuck and another one in the tailstock, and get them to kiss. If they don't kiss, they're not aligned. Until they kiss, that is the truest way of doing it. Even on the self-aligning beds that are about out there, lathes that are out there, I still wouldn't 100% trust the centres. You only want a few thou out of adjustment on the headstock against the tailstock, and you don't know even that you are that far out. So again, just going to hold the wood, rotate it on the jaws, just to get rid of the few whiskers that might have been in there. Can't afford to crank this up too much.
So question from Mike Q. Is that a small or large hood attached to your extraction tube?
That's a 4-inch rainwater hood outlet. A hopper head.
Why didn't I think of that?
On a bit of a flexible pan connector. I just need to work out how to get it tighter so that it doesn't flop around like a spare bit.
So it's just a rainwater hopper.
Yeah, a 4-inch rainwater hopper. Cut down. I've cut about 1 inch off the top and about 2 inches off the other side. So just run it through the bandsaw carefully, and jobs are good.
I'll have to go and get one of them. So we've had a couple of comments about aligning the headstock and tailstock.
Yep.
From various different people, but the gist is that you can buy a double-ended MT2 taper.
Yes, you can.
And align it that way.
Why would you want to buy something that you've already got in stock? If you haven't got 2 centres, where I'll put it, but if you haven't got 2 revolving centres, you've got 1 revolving centre and you've got 1 4-prong drive, which comes with the lathe, you can still line them up.
I think I've seen a video once of on YouTube somewhere. Somebody was doing a demonstration of that, and when they put the 2 Morse tapers in with nothing tightened down, he was able to. He actually shimmed underneath the headstock to get it to be exactly right. So maybe that's why the double Morse taper might be an idea. Certainly, I've used what you suggest there, just to get the 2 points right.
I'm not going to turn an ultra thin wall on this. Now I've got down that far, I can take the ring off.
We just had a hesitation on your video there, so we didn't hear quite what you said there.
Right, where did you not hear? Now I've got down to.
I think you were talking about the wall thickness.
Right, yeah, I'm going to leave this about 10-12 mil because of the openness of the grain. Might go a bit tighter. You never know with me. I tell lies at times. So that was 6 1-inch screws, 1-inch 8s. That's all that held that on. More than happy with that.
I agree with what Mo Maker just said there. There is always more than one way to solve a problem.
Yep.
Absolutely right. Everything you hear and see on YouTube basically is just an opinion. There's no hard and fast rules or facts. So you can kind of just take what you see and then apply your own twist to it if you need to. That's what I think.
I'm not saying this is the only way you can turn wood.
Mark, the gentleman woodturner's back. He says it's a bit blowy out there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So you put 10 different turners head to head, same piece of, or similar piece of wood, similar project, and they will all show you 10 different ways to hold a chisel to do the job. So all I'm saying is what I'm showing you, as far as I'm concerned, is safe. If I was going to show you something that I considered unsafe, I would highlight that before I even tried it.
Yeah, I think your video is having trouble, Keith.
What are we not seeing?
It seems to be freezing up every now and again. It's just it appears like you're losing bandwidth, and it just freezes up.
Oh, I did have issues this morning, but there's not a lot I can do about it, I'm afraid, guys.
No, we're good now. We're good. We're back again now. So
right.
And now it's kind of frozen again.
No, it's not freezing my end.
What's the video like on?
I'm on
YouTube
StreamYard
there,
at the moment.
Yep. I'm watching on StreamYard too, but I'm just asking the guys in the chat.
Yes.
Yep, the guys say it's okay, so it's maybe at my end. I just had a huge rainstorm.
Hamster power your end.
Yeah. Horsepower, not hamsters. The hamster was on the treadmill this morning. I just had a huge rainstorm here, so that might have some effect.
Right.
Did I miss somebody coming in there? I think maybe I did. Thanks, Mark. I'll see the video now.
Right, I'm going straight down the side. Get into the transition position. I'm getting ready to bring the handle round towards me. All in one cut, hopefully. And now the backhand is starting to push it across the centre. So an inch bowl gouge. It's actually quite good. I've got a little lump just there, but that's down the side. But the transition between the side and the bottom with that, with the grind that I've got on there, works a treat. So that's, excellent. Like I say, that's a 45, and then I just taken the heel off. And taking that heel off means I can get right the way around there. So I'm just going to take a little bit off just in here. You can't see, but I can feel it. Almost there. I think.
So when you're talking about taking the chisel in through the centre of the bowl there, Pete from Twisted Trees has just made a comment. He says, sometimes I change the approach angle of the tool, etc., halfway through the cut, depending just how the cut feels.
Yeah, you can do. That was feeling quite good. I'm used to those back grind because I've got that grind on whatever I pick up. So if I pick up a 3/8 bowl gouge, it's still got the same bevel configuration on there, so I can I can go from any of my tools, whether it's a quarter, 3/8, half-inch, 3/4, or the big beast, the inch, and they're all ground exactly the same. So you're not going to, your memory loss between one and the other isn't fantastic. So you don't need to worry. I think I'm going to hand sand this, because I think that's where the issue was last time. It picked up too much of the grain. So a bit of 80 in to start with.
Well, Mark has picked up an interesting piece of driftwood on his walk today.
Right.
He says it's very gnarly. A bit like himself, man.
Yeah.
Only joking, Mark.
And for you guys that haven't seen it yet, I'm not sure whether Wayne will be in tomorrow night. He's already put an apology on. His hamster's playing up. He's got very little in the way of a phone signal or phone lines up where he is in the darkest depths of Dumfriesshire. So there might not be a live tomorrow night. No one's offered to take his place at the moment. Let's see if I've got a decent. I've got a new piece. No, it's a new second-hand piece of 80. That's better. Let's drop the speed a fraction. It's coming over too fast that it's not cutting. So in the good old days when we didn't have sanding discs, we didn't have Velcro backed paper, it was all done on cabinet grade garnet paper, all the likes, and reverting back to those. So that was 80. That's 120. Okay, let's find a bit of 120. Must have got some cut. No, cut a bit of 120. So I always talk to myself.
I'm just looking at the chat here. I'm seeing Mo Valley Maker says he loves Thursday evening when Phil Anderson's new video comes out. No disrespect to anyone, but it's one of the highlights of his week, watching and listening to Phil.
What time is that about then?
I'm not sure. What time's it come out, Mo? I've watched a few of Phil Anderson stuff. He turns some really weird bits of wood.
It's not too bad. I just got a little bit of tear out down the bottom. You can just see it, or I can just see it on the screen there, around there. Comes up as a different colour.
About 11 p.m. Mo says.
Oh right. So it'll be well after I finish then at 8:30, 9:15. And I'm again live Thursday evening.
Yeah, Thursday, yeah.
Covering for Scott. Let's hope he's off the loo by then.
Yeah, I hope so. Benjamin says let's all chip in and get Wayne a satellite internet. Yeah.
120. Bit of 240. I'm swapping between papers today. A bit of Vitex.
Clive Rogerson's looking forward to the summertime. Obviously, he's in the chat here talking about wearing a knotted handkerchief on his head.
You can do that in the winter time. Yeah, you can do that in the winter time. We won't tell anyone. That's the 240. A bit of 400, just to make it look sort of special. That'll do. And we're back to Indasa now. Velcro backs. Drop.
Yeah, nobody mentioned CA until you did, Mark. We're trying to avoid the topic.
No, there's not going to be CA on this, Mark. It's too porous.
He's already used. You already used a bottle of CA on the other project.
Yeah, but not for finishing.
Yeah, that was just for filling.
That was to hold it together.
Yeah.
Or hold the inserts in.
Oh, I must have missed them. Sorry, Mark. Mark says there's 2 people mentioned CA before he did.
I thought I saw it come up on the chat earlier on, but not totally sure.
I must be paying attention. I'll be getting the site.
So there's a Sequoia bowl. And just for Pete, because he can't get up days, that's lemon oil that I couldn't get back in the tub. So that's been sitting soaking. So there's a really wet lemon oiled oyster bowl.
Looks very nice.
So once it's dried off a bit and dried out, what I'll do, I'll give it a light wax to bring out the highlights even more. But that was a nondescript piece of not cedar. Come on, Brian, tell me what I've used. Larch.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
you didn't tell me.
It's a larch base, which we took outside, and just for Baz, we set it.
And we incinerated it a little bit.
Yeah, we scorched the back, sanded most of it off, and I've just brought out the highlights of that with lemon oil. Possibly give it a second coat before I give it a wax. See how well that's drying. So we've got lemon oil in here. Still got more
Pete
than
from
I really need.
Pete from Twisted Trees likes your little bowl. He says he's going to pinch that idea.
Little bowl, what, the
yeah, the oyster bowl.
Oysters, yeah.
Yep. He's going to pinch that idea, he says. Clive Rogerson says, love the effect of the U.
Yes, the U looks nice. I'm not going to try and do the bottom of that and get plastered. Let's turn off the dust extractor. So that's one finished product, one complete product today. Not bad in an hour. Cool. I didn't think I was chasing this now.
An hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah. So
yep.
The oysters were cut from this. This is a bit, it's about 1 inch by just over 3/4 oval U, and about between 35 and 40 degrees to get so you get some of the colour through there. If you cut them off square, they don't look so nice. They look just like they're rounds of branch been cut off, but if you cut them off at an angle, they look like the oysters. So if you can find a coloured piece of wood, branch laburnum is quite nice when you've got the white and the brown. There are several different woods you can use. If you've got a deeper coloured piece, so I'm trying to change the camera at the same time as chatting to you. If you've got a dark piece of wood, you dress, Brian? Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Just need to get rid of that picture and bring.
Get rid of the picture of the bowl. So Doug's had to go. He said, lovely project, Keith. He's had to go to Doug's away. Bye, Doug.
Cheers, Doug. Thanks for popping in.
Really nice comments, yeah. Ian Leonard, very nice project, Keith.
Well, it's been able to make something out of nothing, basically. The larch bowl was so bland that it wanted something. The U insert, just going to tickle. That's better.
Yeah, we can see nothing now. Oh, there you are.
Yes,
There's that red plastic bag again.
Yeah,
Oh, there you are.
the U inserts just make it that much more appealing. It also adds a bit on value when you're trying to sell it. The little red sequoia, like you say, that started off as 8 inches. It's finished at 7 3/4 by 3. So, and that was all turned using one big baby. So
Hodgepodge has
when
asked you a question, Keith.
yeah, when people say you need small tools to do a bowl like that, you don't. It's sometimes easier, but you don't.
So, Keith, Hodgepodge asked you a
Right.
question there.
Any particular steps you take to keep the oysters from cracking? Yeah, it's bone dry, that wood. It's not. It's been in the workshop here for a couple of years, and it's 10, probably 12 years cut. Some I cut myself, so you can use it. You don't need it that small. If you wanted to go bigger, the bigger you make them, the bigger the bowl needs to be. But I've actually used that one. I've actually used this before on a bigger bowl, 2-foot bowl. Again, but if you cut it through, it's heart shaped. So setting them in a diagonal makes it work better than trying to set them in square.
That was a nice piece.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I try and make all mine nice. Some are nicer than others. Is that stick dry when you cut it? Yes, Hodge. Bone dry. Bone dry. It's helpful to us as learners. Well, Lawrence, that's one of the reasons I'm doing these lives, is to pass on as much as I can of information so that you don't have accidents, and you can see that you don't need a vast range of tools. You can do it on various different bits and pieces that you've got in your toolkit. If you're looking at buying a decent bowl gouge, a 3/8 is an ideal one. You can hang it over 2.5 inches past your tool rest without it flexing too much. You can put a double grind on it. Keep all your bowl gouges ground the same, and I even do that on the spindle gouges, so that they're all. Did I just toss that one? Whichever one I pick up, whether it's a spindle gouge or a bowl gouge, they've all got 2 grinds on them, and I can use them in. Use that 1/2 inch in the bottom of a small bowl. Don't need to go to have a bottoming grind like they used to call it, and now started calling it again the old English grind. The one that Emma uses 99% of the time, because she gets on with it. You don't have to copy what we do, what we say. We're here to pass on information that hopefully make life easier for you rather than learning the hard way.
Yeah, Mulvally makers off the Santom MDF. Joy.
Make sure you've got something over your nose. Yeah, make sure you've got. Yeah. Apparently, it's not the dust of the wood that is harmful, it's the dust from the glue that is harmful. But you can't stop and pick the glue, separate the glue from the dust. Thanks, Andy. See you soon. Cheers, mate. Don't forget, give us a shout when you get before you spend hours trying to set yourself up. I'll come in and give you a hand. We can talk it through over the phone. That's not a problem.
Bye, Terry.
Thank you for popping in, Brian. Any adverse effects on your jab? None on
Not
mine.
one.
I had a shingles jab yesterday, so I'm not allowed to have my COVID for another 7 days.
Yep, I've had no after effects of whatsoever. The little bit of pain in the arm was just localised to the injection site.
Right.
No other symptoms, no other side effects whatsoever.
I've got nothing at all, and she did squeeze it quite tight. Di is saying that's the joy of any craft. There are many different ways of doing things, and you can pick the ones that work for you. Yes, you can, Di. It's nice to see that you're not doing it the only way, because that's the only once you've seen it. You see it several different ways, and like I say, providing it's done in a safe manner, you're not harming yourself. Hodge, I'd like to see some of that inlay work that you do. It's always nice, but like I say, you pick a bland wood. You're Canada, I believe, aren't you, Robert? So you've got some fairly bland pines over there. They would work quite well for this if you've got something with colour to it. I don't know that you get yew in, or that much yew in where you are.
Bye,
Choose
Barry.
contrast woods. Cheers, Barry. Thanks for stopping by, mate.
Yeah, Mo Valley says he's using a full respirator for sanding the MDF. Just right.
Yep, and dust extraction if you got it. You need it. I use Terry's Snood while I'm in the workshop with you guys. I have a full headset. But it sounds like I'm in a goldfish bowl if I put that on. Just doesn't work right. Chris Dodds is off to bed, so it must be fairly late. Is Chris Australia?
Don't know. I don't know.
I don't know where you are, Chris, but
thanks for coming in, Chris.
Sleep well, and thanks.
Look who's appeared. Real simple things.
Baz of the Bernie.
Afternoon all. You've missed it, Baz.
Yeah. If you hang on a minute, Baz, I'll show you what you've missed. Let me just take a mouthful of that. Stop me coughing. Possibly.
Where have you been, Baz? You've been missing all day. Or have you been lurking in the background?
There you go, Baz. That's what we finished off today.
Yeah, Chris Dodds is from Australia.
That's what we started 3 weeks ago. Bernie. So I've scorched the bottom. It's been lemon oiled. I've inset it with yew oysters, and I filled between the oysters, around the oysters, with yew bark that was ground up. So just for Baz, and he don't turn up. Typical, isn't it?
Well, he's only got a lunch break. He's on his lunch break now, so we'll give him a.
Cheers, Baz. I thought you'd appreciate it. No, it does. It works quite well through bringing in a different element. Just adding something. We're not adding anything. I could easily put some texture in, not on either of the pieces that I've turned today, because it's too coarse. You want something like sycamore or ash that is a hardish wood and a bit slower growing. I mean, the other one you missed, Baz, is this one. Let's tip the camera down. I don't want to tip the oil all over me, but that's sequoia. So that is quite pinky red. I've just filled it up with lemon oil, which I'm swilling around to try and get it to soak in. I've still got to do the bottom, but I don't want to turn it over and get it to flood over me. I know that's what you boys were waiting for. But it's not going to happen.
Buzz has just said, should I give you my address now, Keith? I think he might want you to send him that bowl, I think.
You can turn yourself one, mate. Pete says he's picked up a gas canister. yesterday, Baz. So Bernie is an option. Well, you've got two different approaches to that piece. You've got the burnt or the scorching, because I haven't burnt it hard. The scorching on the bottom to give it the black and white effect, and the oysters inside to wake it up that way. So if there's not many more questions in the chat, I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of coffee. Hour and 20 minutes.
Kind of leaving now.
Yeah, hour and 20 minutes. That's not bad for a small 8-inch bowl, 8x3 bowl, and finishing off the oyster bowl. So I wasn't racing on either of them. So hopefully you will all join me again Thursday night.
Gav from Sedey Woodworks has just asked you, is that a Lovell smock, Keith?
Yes, it is. Yeah, make sure you get one at least one size above you. I didn't get it embroidered down there. I've got a local company that does all my embroidering for me, so they do both bits. Lovell's will put your, it's the other side, isn't it? I will get used to these bloody cameras. They will just put your name across there. They won't put a logo on, but they will put a club logo on if they've got it in stock. It's funny how they work, but he's very helpful. He might have changed things now, but go for the cotton ones. A mate's went for a denim one, and he needs to wash it after each time he goes into the workshop. It just sucks the dust to it. He said, I can take it off and shake it, and I'll still take a shirt off underneath, and I'm still covered in dust. So just be warned. This one comes in 3 or 4 different colours. They were doing these at a good price last year. I think they'd got some. Normally I go for stone, but I think they called this one teal. So I was expecting it to be more bluey green, but it's a dirty grey, particularly now because it's going in the washing machine. Possibly, no, it won't. It will wait till after Thursday. Usually when I take them in, the missus says, "I'll let her go in the washing machine." No, I'm doing a live Thursday. Okay.
Mine's actually just hangs up in the shed. I don't get into the house with mine on.
I'll give it a good shake before I go in, and I'll still manage to take a few bits in. And then she picks it up and, what have you got in your pockets? There's sawdust. I know, it's all over the floor. Bless her.
Yeah, that's why I don't get to take it in the house.
Yeah. Off so soon, lightweights. No, we've been here an hour and a half, Baz. You're the lightweight, not turning up on time. But,
Di's away.
Yeah, everyone's creeping off. Cheers, Di. Thanks, mate. Yep. Hopefully see you on Thursday evening. I'm booking next Tuesday for a live. Same time, 1 o'clock. Don't know what I'm doing yet. I will think of something.
That's okay. I don't know what I'm doing on Thursday. Never mind next Tuesday.
I've got a vague idea of what I'm doing Thursday night, but it is only a vague. Oh, Pete saying he hasn't watched this for 20-odd years. I know. It walks, doesn't it, Pete? You're just bloody disgusting, mate. So I'm allowed to talk to him like that because he comes up here when he wants wood. Yeah, polyacrylic should be the best. Yes, it is. Repelling dust and chip. Yeah, this one brushes down or shakes quite well. But like I say, make sure you buy a size too big. Because 9 times out of 10, you're in the workshop this time of the year and it's a bit cold. So you want to be able to put a sweatshirt or a jumper on underneath. I've got a sweatshirt on underneath as well as a t-shirt. And it also gives you a chance to be able to stretch your arms out. If you get them too tight, you can't turn with your arms pinned back like this. You need full movement. So no one's going to see what it's like in the shed, but get a bigger one just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to go and hit the reject button, get rid of you guys. I don't mean it impolitely, but I definitely
Okay, bye
need something
everybody.
to drink.
Thank you for popping in
So
today.
thanks everyone.
Enjoyed
You've
that.
got a
Hope
couple of
you have.
seconds while I go down and wake the mouse up and hit the end broadcast. So it's
That mouse
goodbye
kick.
from him, and it's goodbye from me. So Brian, I'll
Goodbye
see
from
you
him.
hopefully Thursday, and I will see you
You will.
Thursday. What time are you on, Brian? Thursday lunchtime you're doing?
Thursday lunchtime, yeah, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, Brian, and I'm on at 7:30.
Perfect.
Cheers all for now. Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye bye.